Let me get my fan real quick. So, we're back for day 3 of the Onryo, which I like to call Oreo, Sadako, or the Ring Chapter, or whatever you want to call it. Uh, this is going to be the final time I go back in this, but now we have a full guide of everything, add-ons, things like that, perks, etc., etc. So, I will be giving my final thoughts on everything. And why is that broken? There we go. Let me get rid of these goddamn advertisements. That's my creation thing anyway. I should go here, use the additional sources tabs, and pull from that. From there, we can unlock this, drag all of that off screen. That's going to look a little stretched, but it is what it is. That'd be alright. So, the new killer, Sadako. Well, the reason I came back to this, let me start there, is because when I'm making Dead by Daylight reviews, or doing Dead by Daylight reviews, creation form reviews, the one thing I always say is your killer should not start off strong. You don't want to have your killer balanced to be able to essentially stand on their own legs and pull out consecutive victories over and over and over and over. That defeats the whole purpose of the perk system and the add-on system. So your character should start out, for the most part, weak. If you run the particular killer by itself with no add-ons, no perks, nothing at all, you should not be able to get, a 4-piece. Heck, you should probably get about 1 if you're not experienced at the game, 2 if you are, tops. Unless, you're like a super sweater and you're actually, super tryharding and things like that. You could pick up a 3, possibly even a 4. But that also depends on the survivors you're going up against. But you shouldn't be expecting, hardcore victory after victory unless you're super experienced at the game. So every killer, by base, should be weak without perks and add-ons applied to them. Now, I still keep my mind about, the visualizations and the horror aspect that this killer brings is a much needed breath of fresh air to Dead by Daylight. I can see this killer being played a lot, especially around Halloween or anytime something scary pops up. You'll definitely see this killer played more. If they ever introduce new game modes like hide and seek or prop hunt or something like that, I can definitely see them using her particular abilities because she has kind of an AoE when she goes through TVs, things like that, and just recoding that. She is set up nice for an update for Dead by Daylight's, visual effects and things like that. They have set a new high bar, and I mean, as long as it took them to put this killer out, I mean, you're expecting kind of a little bit of a high quality type system. They've been working on a new game too, and I assume this is just kind of a flex on what they're working on to kind of give you a sneak peek. But they did it through Dead by Daylight means, showing that, the next game coming out is going to be sick, guys. Look at these visuals, things like that. While also wrapping it in as a cash grab because, I mean, Ring is popular AF and they know it's going to sell well. So they took an already popular concept, wrapped it up with new and improved graphics and whatever else, and that's gonna net them a lot of money, especially when it finally comes out and people start hopping on it. She, as a base killer, is still below A and B, still about average, you know. If you run a ghost face without anything, he's just a mouse one killer. If you run on, her without anything, she's a mouse one killer. I mean, yeah, they have secondary abilities. Ghostface has stealth. She has teleport. Nurse has things like that. But if you run any killer base without using any power or perks, you essentially have a mouse one killer. There are exceptions, like Huntress, for example, that has that, chase factor and can hit you with ranged attacks, etc., etc. but just base killers. Then you start incorporating their powers into it, and that's when, the scale starts tipping more, where you get your S rank killers and your F rank killers. I guess there's not really an F rank killer, even though people like to shit on Pig. She's not an F rank killer. Not at all. The one thing I would like to see as a change to the pig straps, because, well, people don't take them seriously, is make it the where it's actually, a Saw game. One of Amanda's Saw games. Jigsaw Saw games, because I don't remember his name. He always created Saw games to where you're supposed to learn something and there's always an escape. Amanda made Saw games to where even if you passed the challenge, she'd still off you. That's just kind of how she ran things. So if you're going from the Saw chapter and using specifically Amanda in the pig suit and all that, which I mean, it could be. Well, now it specifically says Amanda. Because Jigsaw did put on the jacket and all that at one point in time and play the part. But it is specifically calling out Amanda, and these saw boxes and all of that are hers. It's not back when they were both doing it and he was in charge of traps and she was just running around gatekeeping. Like, no, this is when she took over and she's running the show now. So I would like to see it more tailored towards Amanda or the pig, to where instead of making it where, when you take the trap off, it's an if you take the trap off situation. Because right now, you get 4 boxes. They give you just enough time to get to all 4 boxes. If your trap activates as soon as she puts the trap on you and you get back up and your trap activates. Generally, pigs will just kind of pursue you. They'll keep track of what boxes you go to and they'll get you when you get to like the fourth one, or depending on which way you go. They'll just use that, or if they're not chasing anybody, they'll just pursue you, hook you, and send you on the way anyway. Which kind of suits Amanda pretty well. Hey, play this game and you'll lie or you'll escape. On second thought, you got the trap off of you, or on second thought, I'm just gonna hook you and send you anyway. It is some type Amanda stuff. But instead of making it 4 boxes that you can potentially assure an escape, I would make it to where, there's a lot of different people that are coming out that are using these assets. You got new totem spawns, old totem spawns, you got chest spawns, you got, all kinds of different spawns. What you can do is make it like a soul experience. Some chests will have traps on them. If survivors try to go through them, they have to pass, I don't know, back to back skill checks. Don't actually make it back to back skill checks, but they have to do something, or a trap just goes off and, makes them scream or something like that, inflicts pain on them. Maybe make it to where, you either have to hold a button if you have hold on, or keep tapping a button, or keep hitting a skill check after the trap goes off to keep yourself from screaming. So you can still run and do whatever you need to do, but you have to hold, like, you have skill checks that pop up intermittently. Because you get, like, when you're searching through a chest, you have a chance to get like a shock bracelet or something weird on you. That throughout the trial, when you're running and doing other things and your heartbeat gets above a specific point, or, just some sort of weird mechanic, that bracelet activates, you get a skill check, and if you miss that skill check, you scream. Add in a whole lot more saw boxes and actually make it into a game. I mean, 4, yeah, it's kind of fine, but you have to go all the way across the goddamn map to search all 4. They never updated their system. If you go to the farthest box from where you were downed, you have a higher percent chance of finding the key to get you out of your trap. I don't feel like going through and relooking up the numbers, but I had the numbers in front of me at one time. It was a stupidly high amount of chance. I'm talking about like 80% type of chance to get out of your trap by going to the farthest box that was away from where you went down at. And then if it wasn't that one, the next highest one was the trap that was, or the box that was closest to that box, like the second farthest away. And it would always spawn in one of those two boxes, unless you got that slow, like, or low, like 5 to 10% roll on the two closest boxes, which is very, very rare because, I mean, 5 to 10% out of 100 when you have the rest being the farthest two boxes. It's kind of, it's going to hit hard. And I don't know if they ever changed it because I haven't went up against any pigs, but yeah. And that's kind of one of the things. Also, you pull out Pig, who has a crouch and an ambush, but then it turns into a pseudo Legion style short, though temporary run that she has to ambush people. So, in place of stealth, which you get by crouching, which is fairly not that great, you get stealth out of it, which allows you to sneak up on them. However, she does that pig, noise that before she ambushes anybody. That noise that she makes before she ambushes. So if I'm working on a generator and I hear that noise, I'm gonna immediately take off running. So even though she's stealthy, you're not gonna really get any opportunity to grab somebody off of a generator or anything like that. And since people are aware of your presence because they can hear that noise, they have a better chance of hopping a window or 316 you or anything like that because they're not going to be on a generator unless they're crazy after hearing that pig noise. But it's just interesting, I guess I could say, how things are set up with the pig. And most people agree that the memes are true and that she does need some sort of buff. But it's like, instead of giving her a particular buff, why not? Well, I guess it'd be, I don't know. But instead of buffing her, how about we change up the way that she's played? because she's a mouse one killer that has a crouch and kind of a stealth attack. But I mean, so is Ghostface. He can crouch and he has that sort of attack. However, he stays in stealth while he walks around the corner and can get grabs and things like that, which is what inevitably makes it worthwhile. All right, give me a moment. I'm just making sure this shit works. Uh, nope, I don't remember how I set this up. Um, yeah, I don't remember how to set this up. It's been a long time since I got this working. Could probably use it more, but you know. When you capture this, that's set to display one. That's set to that. But it's not actually linking them together. Hmm, perplexing. Well, I think what has happened is my Epic Pen actually, oh, yeah, wait, I remember now. Yeah, it bugs sometimes and I have to reset it. There we go. Everything was set up right. It's just that, really shouldn't be using black because that just makes things go invisible. There we go. Now we got things going. Cool. All right. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. When does this public test beta end? It started 15. Generally, it only lasts for a week, but it easily ends Wednesday, so it should be over by tomorrow. All right. Let me fix this because it is a little bit off. Unlock that. Pull this in as best I can. Like that. Scourge Hook, Floods of Rage. Yeah, this is going to be the last. Well, we're going to briefly go over these. Scourge Hook. Anytime a survivor is unhooked from a Scourge Hook, all other survivors have their auras revealed for 7 seconds. And they stick hard to the 7 seconds theme throughout the entirety of this. I wish I had a highlighter, but I'm not paying for that. So the major thing here is that it is activated on hook or off of hook when the survivor unhooks is the main thing here that gives this particular perk its power. Barbecue and chili, you don't really get a good activation of it. You just get locations of barbecue and chili. Not very good for any killer except for it tells you where the survivors are if they're away from you. And that's about that. This perk guarantees guarantees that you are gonna get that ore read. I mean, yeah, they can hop in lockers and all of that, but you know, how are you supposed to know when another survivor is gonna get unhooked? Unless they're running like Kindred or something like that. And not only that, you have the unhooked aspect, which makes this extremely powerful, being as though you're already going to be out in the field, running around, chasing another survivor, or, you know, looking to see what's going on. When that particular survivor gets unhooked, and let's just say, I don't know, you want to run her as a tunneler, you're going to see exactly. Did this work if I use the highlighter? I really would like to highlight what I'm talking about. Nope, the highlighter just eats it. I see it as being highlighted, but it doesn't show up on the actual screen as being highlighted because I'm capturing it. That's fun. Anyway, now I would love to see somebody make a meme build where as soon as somebody gets hooked initially, they get that barbecue and chili activation, and then they run this perk with it so they can get the because for the floods of raid activation, because that would be 4 seconds coming from that, and then you would get an additional 7 seconds. So from the original barbecue and chili activation, you would go towards somebody, and whenever that person gets unhooked, you would have an additional 7 seconds on top of that. Is it completely unnecessary and detrimental in the end? Yes. However, it would be a very interesting thing to see somebody running a particular build like that. Because in actuality, you'll get the barbecue and chili activation. As soon as you hook, I can't use red. Red doesn't show up. That don't show up either. No way I broke this again, right? There we go. Nope, they just don't show up. But you would start off with the barbecue and chili activation. I can also write over here, because all that did was just eat that up. I can write to the sides and it should still capture. Interesting. I'm just testing out my epic pen. Ignore my doodling. But yeah, I would love to see a meme build of like Discordance, Barbecue and Chili, Floods of Rage, and it'd probably be Devour Hope actually to be in the fourth one because you're not going to be able to pull any type of victory off unless you have something like that. Come to think of it, the old Barbecue and Chili, Floods of Rage, Devour of Hope, well, one of those two, and Floods of Rage gives you a very good activation. I definitely drop Barbecue and Chili over Floods of Rage, and I would just run, you know, Agitation or well, if you run Iron Will by itself, you're only getting 1.5 more seconds. So it's kind of important to run Agitation on top of Iron Grasp to give you that little bit extra of push. Iron Grasp is most importantly made to where you don't experience the wiggle effects. So somebody using boil over or anything crazy where you're going like this non-stop and you have this huge wiggle room with Iron Grasp, you start doing this and it cuts it down significantly to where you're barely getting moved back and forth. That is a heck of a difference between the two. So Iron Grasp isn't necessarily made to extend your time, which I mean 1.5 seconds is a huge difference to all of you that have been body blocked or went for a hit or something like that and barely dropped that survivor and didn't get that hook in time. Iron Grass helps gobs. But you really want to run agitation with it. But if you run this Scourge Hook perk and you run Devour of Hope, EH, supposed to be a D, Devour Hope, with this particular perk, you have a heck of a thing going. Because when you hook somebody, as long as you're away from your hex totem, obviously, you're going to have to leave if you're nearby. You hook somebody on this Scourge Hook, as soon as they get unhooked, you get 7 seconds, which is generally enough if you're decently within the area of your particular totem. It gives you that check to see if anybody's there trying to work on it, or, not. If you don't see anybody by the totem, you just saved yourself time of having to check on it. So you just continue on your way. So Floods of Rage stacks with Devour Hope a lot. Floods of Rage might even pull out Basement Camp and Bubba's. Because with this particular hook, they can essentially amp out the first stage of the hook and then leave. Go after somebody else. So they would be running Bamboozled, Barbecue and Chili, probably. This Scourge hook, and then other things. The Barbecue and Chili obviously would let them know where to go afterwards. Because I guarantee you, if they know you're a Basement Camping Bubba, they're not going to change gens. And having a location of your next prey would be good. I mean, you can use discordance or anything like that if you would like. But I mean, barbecue and chili would be completely fine if you're camping. Survivors ain't smart enough to say, oh, well, I don't have enough time to finish this generator before they get sacrificed, so maybe I need to hop to another area just in case they got barbecue and chili or something like that, which I mean, most bubbles don't run it, so I mean, it is what it is. Bamboozled is one of the ones you need to worry about if you ever see a bubba trying to zone you. So let's say there's a wall there. Everybody knows this wall. Your window is going to be there. You'll have a wall over with a pallet and all of that. If a bubba comes and he is hard zoning you, like he goes over to, ooh, this show up on screen? I don't think it will. He goes over this side here, if it's showing it. Yeah, it's showing it. And he starts zoning you heavily, and he just stays from here to here, from here to here. If you allow him to push you back this way, the only thing he's going to do at that particular moment is he's going to come right around this side, jump through this way right here, and then bamboozle you as you go to try to go that way, or vice versa. If you mess around and you're just chilling here, he'll just jump through the window, like so, and then he'll just come back around and he'll bamboozle the absolute crap out of you and keep you zoned at the same time. If you know he has bamboozle, oops, and he goes for that zonage there, then your best bet is to GTFO or run for pallet. The thing you need to realize about pallet is most bubbas will rev their chainsaw whenever you go towards a pallet. So if you can, you want to have those balls of steel and try to get that pallet stun instead of pre-dropping and running. Because if you pre-drop and run, they're just going to cut through the pallet and continue on their way. You're not going to get any value out of it, really. You need to be very careful about that. Grab balls of steel and go for that pallet stun. Because as soon as you pallet stun them, one, they've wasted charges, and two, they generally have to either run around that pallet to try to keep chase pressure up, or they have to kick that pallet, allowing you to get a good escape. Now, if you're injured and you ain't feeling it, then you're going to want to pre-drop the hell out of that pallet and force him to rev his chainsaw. Forcing a rev early ain't that bad as standing behind the pallet and him just revving it and breaking through it. Pre-drop it early, force him to rev early, and then GTFO. Run as fast as you can. In this case, run towards the nearest loop. Straight lines are fine for a little bit, but you don't want to be caught out, out in the open to where he can just cut you down. Some bubbas are all chainsaw all day, which is great. Some will just walk up and mouse one you after you're injured. Those are generally the more smarter ones, especially if they're not running a cord or any type of speed perks. Because I mean, chainsaw superior when it comes to speed, but mouse one is superior when it comes to quick downs. You know what I'm saying? I've had bubbas, I've been injured, and I managed to get a window vault because they wanted to chainsaw me instead of just mouse one me. You find them all over the place. Back to the ring. Bloods of Rage. Very good perk. It is like a super buffed barbecue and chili. Again, I would prefer they have just either removed or just buffed barbecue and chili than flooding. You get it? Flooding the perk system with another likewise perk. It's like the sprint burst and the smash hit and the live and all of that, where you get the sprint burst after doing a specific action. Why not just make it all part of one button? You press the button, you get the sprint burst. I mean, you got it on dead hard. You press the button, you get the free hit. Why not just make it one end all be all button? And then slightly reduce the time that you receive that sprint burst, since it's, can be used in any aspect at any given time. I know people are going to be like, well, that's just like Dead Hard. Well, it's not going to protect you from a hit unless they want to combine Dead Hard and Sprint Burst together into one activation. Just combine it all together. You get a sprint boosted jump. So even if you're Dead Hard, you Dead Hard early, you can still get that sprint burst afterwards. That would actually be pretty unique because most killers literally just walk behind you till you waste your Dead Hard and then they bop you. So why not make it to where if you waste your Dead Hard, you still get value out of it. And just extend it slightly farther. I'm not saying, make it a huge Dead Hard, but I mean regular Dead Hards like from there to there. And I'm saying extend it from like there to like there. You know? 2 or 3 times as far what you usually get in the Dead Hard. Make it a small Dead Hard dash, and then you continue that speed for like a second or two afterwards. And then get rid of all of those sprint burst related perks. Because I mean, goodness gracious, there are so many. There is a burst perk for almost every situation, if not for every situation. Next perk, when you open a chest, you get a sprint burst afterwards. I'm like, oh my god, behavior. I understand why they do it. It's for fluidity. So think about parkour. In Dead by Daylight, when you run to a pallet, you run, your character stops, drops the pallet, and then you continue on. All the perks like the smash hit and all of that gives you that time that you spent back, that you spent dropping that pallet. It gives you that time back, and sometimes a little bit more. So it's almost the same as if you ran, dropped the pallet behind you, and kept running. You're not getting any additional distance. You're just maintaining the speed at which you drop the pallet down, is what the time ends up equaling out to. And that's why they have it in different situations and things like that. So, I mean, I understand why they're there and it's good implementation, but it's like, holy shit, you have so many. Why would I give up a perk slot for a smash hit to where, when I get that, pallet down on them, I get that boost? Lithe has, is the conglomeration of them. Anytime you volt something, you get the speed boost. I wish there were more like that. Bolting equals speed boost, not happening to a specific action. Sprint burst, running equals speed boost. Cool. But all the ones that are tailored to specific situations, you kind of got a lot of them speed related. That does include haste and everything else. But Floods of Rage, good perk. I definitely see it being used over barbecue and chili in most cases. Yes, you have to get on a Scourge hook, but it's not really that big of a deal. They're usually spaced out enough to where you can always get to one. And if you're worried about it, just run it with barbecue and chili. You'll get an activation of where people are. You can head in that direction. If somebody saves them, you then get a 7-second timer of wherever they are, whatever they're doing, if they're hiding, whatever. They said, get this with Devour of Hope. Barbecue and chili tells you where your victim is. Once it activates, it gives you enough time to look towards your totem to make sure nobody's pressuring it, and also enough time to turn back and get back and chase and keep pursuing whoever you're chasing. Plenty of time for that. So I would be shocked if Sadako's didn't run Devour of Hope with her teleportability. That's gotta be a meta perk for her. If the community don't pick up Devour Hope with Sadako, what are you doing? To be able to hook somebody and then immediately be able to teleport away. And if they unhook them, you can teleport back, get another down, or do whatever you need to do. Down somebody, hook them. I mean, the TV's turned off at that point. That's 2 free charges right there. You down another one, you already got your exposed status effect. And if they try to take anybody off with a hook, I mean, I guess you would run Thrill of the Hunt too, huh? So you'd run Scourge Hook, Floods of Rage, Thrill of the Hunt, Devour of Hope, and then probably one of the other 2 of these perks. I'd probably use Merciless Storm over Olive Brine. And it's not terrible. It's regression. It's a ruin, essentially, but only for one generator. But, if you're not 3 gen situationing or, trying to protect a specific area, which really doesn't have that much of pressure beginning and mid game. You want to be looking at Merciless Storm, which I mean, I guess that's not really that strong either, unless you have a perk to push with it. So, Well, damn. But I mean, if you can force them off with Merciless Storm, that's 16 seconds of speed. But I mean, 16 seconds of speed, 16 seconds of Jin getting blocked. However, forcing them off with Call of Brine, and if they do jump back on that generator, you know where they're at. Hmm. This Merciless Storm. Holy shit, that's huge. Merciless Storm at higher levels aren't going to do anything. Not going to do a dang thing. I don't see anybody running this at a high level. Unless you want to run like Huntress's Lullaby, and I still don't think it's going to stop anybody at a high gold beginning iridescent level. Not going to do much. Call of Brine, I mean, that's essentially Ruin. It's got the same value as Ruin. The main problem with Ruin, though, is if everybody's doing gens like they're supposed to be, Ruin becomes pretty much useless except for on the generator that you've chased that survivor off of. Because if you block generators, they don't regress, so there's not really a lot of perks that stack well with Ruin. There's a lot of backups, like Pop Goes the Weasel, just in case you lose Ruin, but there ain't a lot of things that stack well with Ruin that helps in the regression factor. I mean, you can block generators off, which forces survivors off of generators, and get like a percent or two when the generator comes back. But I mean, if you're not specifically having gen pressure, you ain't Freddy and can't teleport between things, etc., etc., or get the gens in a very fast manner, gen pressure, map pressure, whatever you want to call it. This is going to create issues. Now, these perks work very well on Sadako because the teleporting to the condemn factor. If you see a gen lighten up, all you got to do is teleport in, and you're going to get a charge added to or a condemned status pip added to their bar. This ain't even what I came to talk about today, but yeah, went over that. Epic Pen, I like you and all, but today's not the day. I'm having a lot of difficulties trying to get it to actually stay up on screen. Anyway, her perks are well designed to help in what she does. She teleports from one TV to the other TV. They get condemned status if they decide to run or if they're stuck doing the continuous skill checks. Jin gets blocked, they get forced off of it. Good. If you kick the generator that they're on, you get 200% regression. You can see the aura of the generator, and any survivors getting that good skill check lets you know that they're back on that gen. Floods of Rage is just good all around. Abilities, able to manifest and able to project. Essentially, the shimmer and the teleport that gives you the condemned status. I don't know if there's any way to actually get condemned besides survivors interacting with TVs, tapes, or her just teleporting to you. This would be extremely strong if survivors didn't have the opportunity to get rid of the status. I never had a chance to look at add-ons, but I'm hoping there's an add-on that says something along the lines of one survivor gets full condemned, they can't get rid of it. Or just gets condemned in general. They can't get rid of it. And the condemn goes at like a 50%, rate. Because, I mean, all in all, that is 14 teleports that you would have to hit them with. Or they would have to be dumb enough to, well, I mean, there is one add on that I know of, and it makes everybody start with a tape. So if you run that, an iridescent add on that makes it to where they can't get rid of it, their condemned status effect, and you start them with a tape, just from the start, that makes all four survivors have to run across the map to insert their tape into a TV. Just from the start. And if any aren't aware that that add-on's being ran, and they hold on to that particular tape, and they're like, oh, well, it's time to drop my tape, and they shove the tape in, and then bam, their condemned status doesn't go down. Or if you want to be a good sport about it, make it only get rid of like 50%, rounded up, of course, of their condemned status. So they wait till there's 6 bars to shove the tape in instead of it going almost all the way down to 0. They still keep, 3 bars, maybe 4 bars. Because I mean, it is 7, so they still keep like 4 bars. So I guess a little more than 50%. So you only have to hit them with 3 more teleports. And you essentially are forcing them to do more tapes and more things with the tape and take more risk and things like that instead of just gen rushing you. But as I said, the killer should be weak by nature. Yes, she can teleport, which gives her maneuverability, but she's really just kind of a mouse one killer. Her hitbox is accurate too. That's one thing I have noticed. No more nemesis, hitting across map. Like her hitbox is set to what she is. So if you actually don't hit anybody with your particular hitbox, you will not get the hit for that, making her a little bit more difficult to be a mouse one killer. But that's how all the killers should be. They should have hitboxes around, their weapons and things like that. And if the weapon hits, wham bam shablam, it counts as a connect. So they've done very well on that. I've seen hits to where I was like, oh, they're definitely going to get this hit. And then it stops short and be like, oh, man, hitbox is being accurate. It's kind of a B, huh? I love that. But I mean, like I said, still about C average killer. She can get to you quick, but chase wise, she really doesn't have much. I mean, she can manifest and demanifest to try and get you. She can teleport and cut you off, but she doesn't really have any type of chase enders or anything like that. No really big chase pressure. And anybody that's paying attention can hear that you teleport, and they can just turn and go in a different direction, losing you quite a bit of distance if they don't run through. So you have to discern what kind of person you're chasing. Are they a coward that's just going to run straight into where you teleport, or do you want to wait till almost the last second and try to teleport out as they're running into the area to try to get a little bit of distance on you and hope that they don't insta pallet or hop window and escape you or something like that? Still about C level, unfortunately. She's average. I would really love to say B. I mean, with her add-ons and all of that, probably easy B, possibly even A. But I mean, how often are you going to be able to run iridescent add-ons, if that's the only way to really buff her up to like an A or S rank? Anyway, what I've been waiting to see are the add-ons. Video copy. Projection does not inflict condemn to nearby survivors. Gain blood points. Meme builds, I guess. If you really want to level her up quickly, I guess you could throw that tape on and then just keep teleporting back and forth. That's kind of one of the crux of her powers, though, but I guess, you might as well throw this tape on because as a base killer, you ain't gonna really be condemning people anyway. Let's be honest. The condemn function taking 7 is only to punish survivors that are essentially ignoring it. Like if you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm just gonna gen rush regardless," and you just ignore it, or if you have a tape in your pocket and you want to finish the gen instead of getting rid of the tape, it's there to punish you for taking risk. Increases manifestation visibility duration, increases manifestation intermittent visibility duration, increases time it takes for TV to turn on after projection by 12 seconds. That's interesting. After teleporting, an extra 12 seconds off the teleports. Now that is worthwhile. The intermittent the invisibility and visibility duration is actually pretty interesting too. Because she is very hard to keep tabs on because she has that as they say, intermittent visibility. So if you could change that and get a little bit more distance in between shimmers, that's actually pretty strong, especially for a brown add-on. So they went both ways. People that are trying to max her out quickly can run the videotape copy, and possibly even the mother's mirror. But people that actually want to play her and have a little bit, that's not bad. So the add-ons is definitely going to be what makes her. Please get out of here, thank you. Yoichi's fishing net decreases the time it takes for survivors to gain condemn 20% when holding a tape. That is actually disgusting because catching somebody with a tape is the way to get that condemn. That's disgusting and it's an uncommon too. Yeah, you can force survivors to grab tapes. That's good. So yes, this killer is definitely made a lot more powerful based off add-ons. You could definitely go from C to B just based off add-ons alone. Overall, still a C average killer with add-ons. I'm just going to go ahead and throw out it. She's probably the iridescents are probably going to bring her up to B, IB plus. I'm not going to give it the A because, well, that's not something you're going to run every single game unless you're Prestige 3 and you just dump all the blood points you get into her. Another TV thing. While survivors are within 8 meters of a powered TV, they are afflicted with the blindness status effect. Mm, I mean, I guess it's anti, I was trying to say visionary. Windows of opportunities, if somebody gets hooked while you're near powered TV. That's all based off of spawn, though. And it's only 8 meters. I don't think there are barely any generator spawns that are within 8 meters of a TV. I don't know about that one, Chief. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know why that's an uncommon. That's more like a brown. It's like them just throwing something out there just to do something different instead of scaling what they have here up. And wouldn't it be better to be oblivious than having the blindness status effect? Because I'm going based off the fact that, she's going to be teleporting around and things like that. Actually, this might be a rare case where both would be good there. So, I mean, survivors can't see TV locations by base, can they? Unless they have a tape, right? I'm trying to remember, but I don't think they can see the TV's locations unless they have the tape. So giving them blindness is kind of a meh, especially within 8 meters. If the if it was bigger radius, okay, now we're talking. But I mean, I ain't seeing it with 8 meters. The oblivious status effect would be better, or even giving them a deafen status effect. Because I mean, it's a TV. TVs can be loud, staticky things like that. Reducing their hearing, I mean, it would obviously have to be a rare or higher, but reducing the sound that they can hear things would be a better uncommon, because rare, it probably gets rid of the sound probably down there in the rare. Is probably one of the things they do, or iridescent. You no longer make a sound when you're teleporting between TVs. That would be definitely a thing. Uncommon. I mean, if you want to keep the blindness or whatever, but definitely reducing the sound survivors can hear while they're within a range of a TV would be huge. More invisibility, things like that. This takes it from 32 to 24. 26, 32 to 26 meters, of which they can see you visible. Rare, undetectable status effect when manifesting. Condemned survivors spread condemned to other survivors who complete a healing action. That would be nice, depending on how much. I'm assuming that it's only one bar. So if you are high, you might not want to heal that other survivor because you'll get like a bar back. If it's a bar, that would be very strong. If it's like half a bar, kind of useless. I'm assuming it's a bar though. Rickety Pinwheel. When survivors within 8 meters of a power TV, they are afflicted with the oblivious. There it is. This effect lingers for 7 seconds after the TV's turned off. So you guys scaled off of this from blindness to oblivious. I would prefer the oblivious to be put down here, and then up here, this to be changed up to do something else. This could be sound, and that could be oblivious, because blindness doesn't make sense. If you're either running to the TV to turn it off, you already know where it's at. You just use your memory to go to wherever they are. Your pathfinding skills, easy. After you put the TV on, I mean, you got an extra 7 seconds of being blind, but I mean, all you were there for is the TV. Once the TV's gone, you're just going to run to another generator. It's very weak and really doesn't belong here. This is like an uncommon thing. Like, this could be shifted down. The oblivious can be shifted down. And then the sound thing or some other thing could be in the rare. I do like that they're giving the oblivious the status effect, the respect it deserves by making it a rare add-on. But that's very powerful when it comes to the TV mechanic. You're near a TV, doing all of that, and she comes up behind you and sneaks up on you and she gets you, yeah, that's disgusting. Um, I said, nice to see the oblivious status effect getting the respect it deserves for once. Well water. Already did that. The spread of condemnation. Very good. Very good indeed. That add-on by itself would get a lot of value. Mother's comb reveals the yellow aura of any TV that is turned off by any means. Does it matter? It'd be different if it revealed the yellow aura of a TV that is turned off by a survivor. So you can get some sort of location means or something like that. I would also add on the fact that a survivor that turns off said TV gets some sort of negative associated with it because it's rare. Just your green add-ons, by the way. So, I mean, just seeing the aura of a TV that's turned off, that's more like brown, maybe uncommon, common, uncommon, maybe yellow, not very strong. Oh, that TV's turned off. Oh no. I mean, you can't teleport it into it anyway. So if you're looking at the TV, you get the same amount of information as if it was yellow or whatever else. Actually, I'm pretty sure they just completely disappear when you can't teleport to them. But if not, it's the other way. I don't particularly remember. I've slept since then. So yeah, this yellow aura of all of that's not very good. Especially when you look at what it's up against. These are fairly good. Things like that. And then you have this. And it's like, why? This is just adding, chaff. You want to cut the chaff. Definitely, I would make it reveal yellow aura of TV that is turned off by a survivor. And I would do something terrifying to the said survivor. You can do something like a minor hindered, just to make them think twice of turning off a TV. You can do something as a minor exposed status effect, just to kind of make them think twice of actually going to turn off a TV. This would stack well if you're in chase of somebody and their condemned status is going up and they have a tape. If they want to make that last ditch effort of just taking a hit and putting the tape in to try and get rid of it, if they got that couple of seconds of exposure status effect, 5 to 10 seconds, so the killer can get there and finish the job, they're not going to get moried, but they're still going to take that down. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know projection granted you bonus movement speed. That I don't think is a thing that should happen. You should not get any type of bonus movement speed from projection unless you're running an add-on for it. You shouldn't be wraith boosted. It might be a minor increase of movement speed, but I mean, I don't think you really need it after off of projecting. Anybody smart that's doing it's going to lead a survivor into a projection trap anyway. Make it the rare add-on that they then get speed of, whatever the original is plus the 50%. So they at least have to run an add-on to get that Wraith boost. Heck, if anything, you could just combine both of those together. Give them the speed boost and the ore for the yellow. Cut the chaff from that and just add it on to, the decent amount of that onto that. So you have a good effect that gives you movement speed and shows you yellow ore of TVs that are turned off. That would actually be useful because you get movement speed off of your projection, and if any TV's turned off, you can't use it. So that's actively useful. So just combine those two together and you're good. Very rare. I'm expecting something disgusting. All TVs play the projection effects when the killer projects to a TV. Oh, that is. Oh, no. So you can get condemnation from any TV as long as you buy it. And if you know that a survivor is within a TV, you can literally just massive teleport from TV to TV to TV to TV. If I'm getting this right. Right, as it says play the projection effects. That's just the sound. So they don't know what TV you're coming out of. Never mind. Because I was like, damn, if you're going to give condemnation to everybody whenever you're teleporting between TVs, you need a negative put to there. But no, it's just a sound. Gotcha. I don't know about very rare, just to get a sound effect played through everything. Because I mean, in all actuality, the person that's being chased is just gonna, you know, listen for the sound. Anybody else are just gonna chill. Even if they hear that she's teleporting between TVs, generally the TV isn't right next to a generator, so they would just look to try to see which way they're coming from and continue to work on the TV or TV generator. What I would have liked to see added to this particular thing, on top of the sound being played, is any survivors within that radius gets about 25% condemnation from it. If they're near the other TVs, and then the survivor that obviously is closest gets the one full bar. So you could just teleport to teleport to teleport. The obvious negative balancing that is your cooldown and your projection is going to go up. So there's going to be a cooldown to your projections. It's going to be, 5, 10 seconds, something like that in between your projections. Plus, added to your projections. Kind of disappointed. Very rare if it's just the sound. If it is the actual effects, well played, because that's disgusting. Getting them all at the same time. That's kind of more iridescent side too, if there's not any, reduction. But I'm pretty sure it's just the sound. Telephone manifestations afflict survivors with 7 meters with the hindered status effect for 3 seconds. Website, we need a percentage here. They get the hindered status effect. So I'm just going to throw in a random 5% hindered status effect because it's very rare and they like to stick with like 5% when it comes to very rare. That'll take them down to 3.8 meters per second, which is zero point 0.8 meters per second faster. Obviously, this is absolutely positively disgusting, and if they did make it like 10%, then they definitely need to add in a negative to where manifestation either slows you down or something like that if they want to go for the big 10%, but 5% is completely fine. I say that because, yes, she cannot hit unless she's manifested. However, she keeps her speed while she's, manifesting. So that's disgusting to be able to keep your speed while doing that, and then they get hindered for 10%. 5% is more than enough. 5% or less is more than enough of a cut. Tape editing deck. Each survivor starts the trial with a tape in their possession, and then their target TV is the farthest from their location. That is the one that I know about. Every survivor starting with a tape and then happen to go across. You would like to see this have a slight reduction in the amount of condemn that they get from that, so it makes sense to run the tape editing deck and an add-on with it that increases the amount of condemn they get from the tape to even it out, as opposed to increasing this effect. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, let's say, I don't even remember, I think it reduced time. It didn't really say how much. Where was it? Yeah. Takes time for the survivors to gain condemned 20% when holding a tape. So, make it to where you have to run this uncommon add on to balance out the effects for this. I would make this, 80% less gain from tape and make it to where they have to run this uncommon add on to make it the 100% gain. That in turn would balance that out to where they can't just hit you with this and start you with a tape and then hit you with something else, like the extra 20% reduction on that, and everybody's getting hit at an 80% rate back to back to back to back. Just as a balancer, you know what I'm saying? And then add in an add on here or here that gives you additional effects and makes it to where you can get that additional 20% on top, to where it's harder to activate that particular combo. Oh, I'm already at very rare. So yeah, this balances out. The rare gives you an actual positive effect on it. Now, the obvious problem comes to balancing. You obviously aren't going to want to have a 20% and then a 30% here. There's a 30% reduction off of a regular tape, and just letting it sit is kind of disgusting, but it might not be but a couple of seconds, so you never know. But anyway, that's kind of the type of things you want to see. Distorted photos, survivors that witness manifestation, scream, revealing their location for 4 seconds. I knew about this too, but I didn't know where it came from. You actually don't even have to witness the manifestation, aka be looking at it. As long as it's nearby you, your survivor eyes will witness it. And it's kind of weird how that activation works, because I've seen that activate through walls, I've seen it activate while they're running away, I've seen it activate while they're just randomly healing a survivor, they'll just scream. It's very weird on how the programming of that is. So it's not necessarily if your screen is on them, it's if they are nearby, it counts as a witness. I don't know if that's a bug or if it's by design, either or. My question becomes, why is it a very rare add-on? If you are manifesting, you are generally doing that because you see the survivor and you're looking to pursue them or whatever. Yes, they tried to balance it out by making it 16 meters, but who's going to manifest 16 meters out of a generator or 16 meters out of an area? And then go for it. The only thing this is going to do, giving the 16 meters, is it's going to make checking exit gates easier, and it's going to make checking gens, towards the end of the game easier. It's going to give you a little bit of an advantage at the end, but not enough to say very rare. I would definitely cut this down to like half, maybe 8 meters, and I would move this up to like uncommon. It's not strong enough to be a very rare. Revealing their location, useless for 4 seconds, because one, it's going to take you roundabouts that 4 seconds to even get to them. So any type of sneaking up on them that you wanted to do is now gone. So this is not good for any type of stealth build or shimmering build or anything like that. Because if you manifest early, let's say behind a wall or something like that, and it happens to trigger one of them, they now know that you're there. And they're going to immediately react to it. And if you're the type to manifest right on top of a survivor while you're chasing a survivor, you're not going to really get anything from that. Why 4 seconds of reveal when you already know they're there? The only thing this pops up is like the ghost face effect. If anybody's looking at you as ghost face, you know where they're coming from. If you demanifest randomly as you're walking across the field and you manage to proc a scream out of it, then you're getting value out of it. But you're going to be walking around demanifesting and manifesting and demanifesting and manifesting as you're going in between locations. Way, way too much of a thing for 4 seconds of reveal. Definitely not very rare. I'd meet you halfway and possibly say rare, but I would shove it up in uncommon. I have seen it in action, and it didn't seem to change the way the game played. It confused the hell out of people as they're like, why am I screaming randomly? But it didn't stop them from doing anything. And the 4 seconds of revealing didn't do anything because they were already in chase by that time. Ultra rare add-ons, the iridescent. Let's see what we got. Remote control after using projection, reveal the auras of survivors carrying a tape within 16 meters of any TV for 7 seconds. Why though? I can manifest within 16 meters and have any survivor scream that witnesses the act, or I can just project in a random location from a TV and get a scream and or reveal for 7 seconds. I mean, I guess it gives you a target to go after, but I mean, it's just not good. Or revealing for 7 seconds just ain't good. It gives you a target to tunnel, they have a tape and all of that. And the only thing this is gonna proc is you essentially hunting them. This is more like for tunneling. Instead of hitting them, taking them down, and hooking them, you're gonna use the aura reading ability to keep pursuing them. You're gonna teleport between TV to TV and keep pushing them to go in the direction that you want them to go, while getting the aura read to make sure you maintain chase. But if you're playing this killer properly, you should still be able to maintain chase if you're not teleporting too early, things like that. It's kind of a skill cap thing. Like even the nurse's thing that allows you to see the location of where she teleports to. It used to be higher, but I think it's like a brown now. It's like very low in the totem pole now. So it's just kind of interesting how we get to the end of the thing and all you get is aura reading on somebody that has a tape. Most survivors ain't crazy enough to be running around with a tape unless you run the other one that forces survivors to stop with tapes. Then you just kind of have a, what is it? It's called Lethal Pursuer that gives you the 10 seconds of aura reading at the start. You have a Lethal Pursuer type thing as survivors run around the map trying to put their tapes in. So that's kind of another one of those question mark. It gives you, yes, a significant amount of map control, but 7 seconds of aura reading? I mean, it's like, come on, that's the best you can do with an iridescent add-on? Step it up, behavior. Come on. Iridescent videotape. Hitting a survivor within 8 seconds after manifesting turns on the last 4 TVs turned off by projection. That is what I'm talking about. Now that is disgustingly powerful. Not only can you project through that TV, you can manifest, demanifest, hit that survivor, and then continue to do what you're doing. This is what we're talking about. Now, generally, both add-ons would go well together. And that's what makes the iridescent, loot kind of ridiculous. However, after projecting, Getting a 7 seconds of ore reading, it's kind of meh for the situation. You're getting sight, but sight's not gonna help you if you're a terrible looper or something like that, you know? Sight don't really matter that much unless you're forcing them to carry tapes, which means you're gonna have to be constantly projecting over and over and over and over. Once you get 4 through, you gotta have demanifest and manifest. Hit another survivor, you turn 4 on, and then you continue to essentially loop. However, it's not that strong when, only thing you're getting on top of that is 7 seconds of ore reading on a survivor carrying a tape. That is the issue, is on a survivor carrying a tape. It's strong because you know who's carrying a tape, but I mean, it's also weak. Also, I'm pretty sure you can tell if a survivor's carrying a tape because they have the shimmers on them as well. I think there is a visual effect that if you pay attention to, you can see as the killer and survivor, actually. The survivor themselves. I mean, it's obvious when you're a survivor who's carrying a tape, but as killer, I think there are context clues to see that if they ain't changed it. I don't know. I love how they stayed with the 7 seconds meme and the seven and all of that, or not the meme, the actual movie and all of that. But I mean, that's not it, Chief. That's not it. And then on the iridescent videotape, you drop the ball, giving 8 seconds instead of seven. As soon as you manifest, you're still at full speed, taking or chasing a survivor. I don't understand how you couldn't get a manifestation hit in most cases of that. But things happen. Some people, I guess, are smart enough to drop a pallet or jump a window before the manifestation occurs. But I mean, in that case, you can just demanifest and manifest again. I mean, you can really cycle between manifesting and demanifesting rapidly. There really isn't any blocker there. So, you know, maybe that could be a balance for the future. Is making a 1 second wait between manifesting and demanifesting as a pseudo balance if this ends up being way too good. This, nah, bro. Shove this shit up a couple of rarities and put something that's actually worthwhile. If anything, you can combine this. I mean, get rid of the ore reading and combine it with the one that makes people scream and all of that. If they're carrying a tape and you manifest in 16 meters and they witness you, then they scream. And I guess you can get a couple seconds of ore reading. Something like that to give you the edge that you need. And then bump that rarity up, maybe. I still want to say no, but, the one above it. Witnessing manifestation, they scream, and if they have the tape, they scream, and their ore fucking reveals or some shit. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. The only thing I do know is this is aight, because you can keep getting screams and all of that, but this ain't. Those two almost need to be combined together to create the ultra rare add-on. It gives you a location, of the person that's has the tape. If they're using a tape, you get killer instinct, a very small amount, or you get a very small amount of ore reading, just enough to where you know that they have the tape. Not necessarily a thing of chasing them and getting them down. It's just letting the killer know that they have a tape. But I mean, they could just as easily have this, get rid of this, and then say that on this, that you can see which survivors have tapes. You know, when within X amount of meters of Survivor and they have a tape, this happens or that happens, or you can see them if they're within your sight and within X amount of meters, or you can see physically see the tape in their hand, or their icons have the tape, or something to do with the tape to let the killer know that they can have it. Instead of just straight up or reading. They fell into the same trap as everybody else in the creation forum that I hate. They just throw out or reading and all of that because probably couldn't think of anything else to get out as an add on. I'm going to say the same things that I say to everything else. I don't care if they're the devs, it's just a bad idea giving that much or reading. It's not very savvy, it's not very good. But what do I know, right? I only do reviews for a living. I'm only at 4.5 stars. I only influence some of the more popular products that come out today. What I know. Either way, all in all, by herself, she is a C rank killer with some of these add ons stacked with the perk set and all of that. She could be a mid B. I'm not gonna give it the B plus because I was actually expecting a lot better. But she could be a B killer with the greater add-ons on with specific add-ons and specific perks in a specific build on a specific map. You know, if everything falls into place, she could be a B rank killer, but definitely C. The add-ons do make her though. The add-ons, playstyle, build, the person makes this killer. The killer does not make the person. Like with Leatherface, for example. Leatherface makes the player. You have the chainsaw and everything in front of you. However, there's only specific builds you can get away running that, and you can only really play a couple of playstyles when it comes to Baba. I mean, and for a lot of other killers. This killer, the player makes her. Whether you're gonna camp, tunnel, go out, do things, try to get the Devour of Hope activations, play her specific perks and something else, role play, do whatever the hell you want to do, you make her, which gives her very, very little presence when it comes to Dead by Daylight, even if she's designed flawlessly when her animations and things like that, which is going to be the very big selling point. Most people nowadays, all they care about is graphics. If the game don't look good, they won't play it, regardless if it has a nice story and everything else. So I mean, yeah, behavior's kind of doing the right thing by upgrading the graphics and changing things up like that, because that's what people care about. You give the community what they want. Either way, I've been about what, an hour and a half? Yeah, round about an hour and a half. This is the last video, and probably the last time that I'll make a full episode on her or anything that has to do with her. Part of that's cut off. Whoops. But thank you anybody for stopping by. And looking at this review, I guess I should say. I had quite a bit of fun with it, and I was surprised. I didn't think I would say or change my mind at all, despite knowing her, or despite not knowing her perks and add-ons and all of that. But not bad, not bad at all. By the way, peace out, have fun. Definitely worth the buy just for the perks. I'm not saying not to buy her. Definitely buy her. Her perks are OP. Good luck picking that up in the Shrine of Secrets, by the way. You have like 90 other perks that you have to cycle through in order to pop that up. Plus, she's new. Unless they give her perks out, at the beginning, which would be dumb because, people are going to be buying her. Good luck getting a hold of those super OP perks. Whew. Yeah, I'm satisfied. I'll end it there. Peace, y'all. Peace, love, and pizza.